It was an agreement that everybody came to, you know, with a lot of effort, a lot of work on the part of the U.S. Attorney's Office, the FBI, and the attorneys representing Ali. The communication is good between Ali and his attorneys and the government. The problem arose when you get to those who are not on the ground, to those that are in Washington, who have issues beyond the criminal justice system.
And when... Political issues? Well, here's the thing also.
You just have to read between the lines.
Is it your sense that the White House and the Attorney General's office would like this to go away?
In many ways, I think they want to have a trial to prove, you know, that the decision that the president made, which I think was the right decision, to put him in the criminal justice system, there would be many advantages for the government to have a trial. Whether they won or lost at trial is not the political issue. The political issue would be that he was given under the present administration the full constitutional rights that every American and lawful alien who's president of the country would have.
What does he feel now about the things that he admits to doing? Does he feel guilty? Does he feel good?
I didn't know him 7 years ago. I know him today, and I've gotten to know him quite closely over the past 4+ years. I can tell you, I don't know him as the person who made those admissions today. I know him as the person I know today, and I can absolutely unequivocally state that he would continue to insist that he never had any intention to doing anything violent on behalf of any organization.
Yeah, we'll certainly be requesting a sentence that takes into account who Mr. al-Marri is, the way he's changed while he's been in the custody of the United States, and we expect to have witnesses that have dealt with him at the Brig in Charleston, South Carolina, perhaps at other federal correctional institutions, and other people who know the real person that he is. We also expect to put on a presentation that will really probe what his background, history, and characteristics are, so that the full picture can be presented. Because at guilty plea proceedings like this and in prosecutions like this, all you hear about is the bad things he did and not who he is. This case is one that's far more complex than that. But beyond that, what we really want more than anything else is for him to simply receive the common decency and what we think is the legal requirement that he be granted credit for the time that he has served in the custody of the Attorney General of the United States and in the custody of our government.
His treatment at the Brig in the early days, the first 16 months, and thereafter when he was held incommunicado, was cruel, inhuman, and in some instances crossed the line into torture. It was a brutal time. He was held in total isolation, stress positions, sensory deprivation. He was, you know, what we would call soft torture.
But I can tell you that it is our hope that he will get full credit for the time he served in custody and will serve as much as possible of any remaining sentence in near his family in Qatar. In so many ways, this is really a victory. This is a person who was held initially incommunicado, and then as a result of court decisions, he was no longer held incommunicado. This is a case about a person who was removed from our civil system of justice and placed in a military setting, and now today we're in a real court of law where he gets all the protections of due process and where a judge tells him about all of his constitutional rights. It's a wonderful victory that he's being told about these constitutional rights, and we have to keep that in perspective.
Any chance that he, if he were deported, ever have an opportunity to come back to this country ever again?
I don't think, honestly, given the way he's been treated here, they would have much incentive to come back here.
Ali al-Marri came here to Peoria, Illinois on September 10th, 2001 as an al-Qaida operative. He came here to fulfill his mission to further and to pursue and to facilitate al-Qaida acts of terrorism within the borders of the United States. Now, the details of what he did are set out in the plea agreement in the factual section, and you'll all have that. But as you heard in court, there are many, many details, historical account, a very accurate historical account of what he did from 1998 through 2001. And we know of those details through the exceptional investigation conducted by the FBI, the Joint Terrorism Task Force, and a host of other state, federal, and local agencies, local police officers as well. Now, As you heard today in court, Ali al-Marri, after being advised of his right to have a trial and require the U.S. government to prove all these details beyond a reasonable doubt, he admitted them and pled guilty.
I mean, who initiated this? Did you go to them and say, we'd like to, or did they come to you?
I think what you should do, you can talk to Washington and the Department of Justice, but I think it's clear that in January, I think on January 22nd, 2009, the President ordered a review of the al-Marri case, and as a result of that review, the case was charged here in the Central District of Illinois.
And I know you don't want to get into this, but I think that y'all have an obligation to, because he has been called...
Obligation to what?
To the average person.
To what?
He has been called X, he's been called Y, he has been called Z. Is there anything that you can say in a short little thing that can tell people what this guy was planning on doing? He had poisons on his computer, he had stuff about dams, he had all this other stuff.
Joanna, thank you very much. Take care. Seriously, the sentencing hearing, the punishment phase, that's what you're talking about, was what should be his punishment. That is coming up, and we will have a open...
You will have aggravating...
All we say is that we will have a hearing on what the government believes the right punishment should be, so that the court can then make its informed decision.